Good morning to you all. As we step into the throes of the short session for 2010, the House Republicans are here to say that it's time to protect taxpayers. This session, if nothing else, is about putting the taxpayer first. We're focusing on three areas, and in 10 short weeks, we honestly believe if matters don't deal with these three areas, we probably shouldn't be dealing with them. First and foremost, our actions will be to protect the taxpayer's pocketbook this year. We need to take actions to grow and protect Hoosier jobs in this very difficult economic time. And we also believe that because of a lot of circumstances that have come together, we have a unique opportunity in this short session to do what House Republicans have asked for a number of years, and that is to enact meaningful government reform both at the state and local level. First and foremost, our actions will be to protect taxpayers' pocketbooks. Mr. Speaker, we ask, we beg, we demand that we vote on the property tax cap today, now, immediately. Now that might be a little bit of hyperbole because we can't do it today, but we should be. We need to act upon it immediately when the General Assembly returns in January. We need to act upon it without amendment. Hoosiers deserve the opportunity to vote on the property tax caps in November of 2010, and House Republicans will do everything we can to see to it that that happens. In addition, two simple mantras for us this session. No new taxes, no new spending. We have a commitment from every member of the Republican caucus that no Republican bills will be filed that spend a dime of extra taxpayer money in this session. And we're asking our colleagues to do the same. Now is not the time to have additional programs, as needed as they may be. Now is not the time to ask for additional revenues as much as folks in government want to do so. No new taxes, no new spending. That's what should happen in the session of 2010. There are also some important job creation and retention measures that can be taken in this short session. First and foremost, we need to delay something that none of us supported in the first place, and that is the biggest employer tax increase in state history through the $750 million unemployment insurance employer tax that was enacted in 2009. We support our Senate Republican colleagues who have indicated their desire to postpone the enactment of this tax increase, and today we're letting you know that we're calling on the Department of Workforce Development to delay the notification to employers that is scheduled to go out in December that this tax increase will occur. We believe that if the other caucuses join in this request and we make it collectively to the governor, that the DWD will delay this notification. We won't have people scrambling. We won't have layoffs that some employers have indicated are going to occur if this tax increase takes place. And that's the number one thing that we can do to retain jobs in this state this session. We also have three innovative means of creating new incentives for both job retention and job creation in Indiana without spending any additional taxpayer money than that is already budgeted for this means. First and foremost, we want to give the Indiana Economic Development Commission the ability to pool its existing resources rather than having these tax credits in silos and having to pick and choose among those, to use the allocated money among any of those tax incentives and other incentives, job creation incentives that are there today. Picking the one that works, place the money there, don't worry about the silos. Second, we believe it's time to expand our EDGE tax credits to the retention of jobs in Indiana. Primarily, those tax credits are used to bring new jobs to Indiana today. That's wonderful. Those jobs are few and far between, although we are leading the nation in that new job creation category despite the difficult times. It's time to allow the Indiana Economic Development Corporation to use the EDGE tax credits to assure the retention of existing jobs in this state as well. This may be a temporary measure for when times return to the norm, but now it needs to happen. And finally, we propose to change our corporate income tax so that new corporations locating in Indiana will have a 3-year tax phase-in period, so that if a business wants to come here from Michigan or Ohio, they will have a phased-in corporate tax period, with 1/3 of the normal tax being collected in year 1, 2/3 in year 2, and a full measure in year 3. We believe this simple measure will give employers that are fighting to get through the next couple of years an additional incentive to relocate in Indiana. And finally, it's time for meaningful government reform both at the state and local level. We believe there is a unique opportunity this year, because of the editorial attention to this arena, to have legislative ethics reform enacted this year. The House Republicans have long stood for a variety of measures. We will have a strong package that includes the reduction of disclosure requirements for gifts, banning of gifts over a certain limit, additional disclosures by both legislators and lobbyists, and we believe that with the Speaker's newfound support for this area, that we may have the opportunity to pass legislation that many of us have long favored this session. We also are, again, advocating an independent redistricting commission, this time for the redistricting efforts of 2011. While some have recently been in the headlines as leading in this area, I'll remind you that in 2006, House Republicans passed through the Indiana House a measure that would create a 5-person panel that would propose, independent panel that would propose legislative districts to the General Assembly for ultimate approval in accordance with our Constitution. That bill will be filed again this year. It will receive House Republican support. We believe that it can be done, and it could make not just the 2021 redistricting, but the 2011 redistricting a matter of both public record and independent control that would be a big step forward for Indiana government. We'll continue to work on local government and school efficiencies. We have a variety of proposals that we will support, including the banning of folks who are employees of local government from serving on elected boards, anti-nepotism provisions, other local government efficiency mechanisms, and continuing to give tools to cities, counties, towns, and townships to consolidate and reduce the cost of their services. And finally, in the local and school government reform arena, one of our primary tasks this year will be to defend the 6 critical measures in school reform that were adopted in 2009. We already know that people will come back and try to dismantle the charter advancements that were made, the dismantle the education tax credit that was adopted, and we will stand firmly around these measures to protect them this session. Taxpayer protection, Hoosier jobs, and government reform. If the matter doesn't fall under one of these categories, my question is, why are we dealing with it during this short 10-week session? House Republicans have this morning pledged to each other that we will do everything we can to protect taxpayers, enact the 123% property tax caps this session unamended, continue to grow jobs for Hoosiers, and enact meaningful government reform, and that's our goal for 2010. With that, we'll be happy to take your questions. Norman?